Good morning. It is 7:25 and I'm heading down to Overland Park in Kansas City. The map says 6 hours and 15 minutes. Should be there by mid-afternoon, early afternoon, mid-afternoon, and we have a 4 o'clock team meeting set up to do I like to get the team together when we get into new out-of-state environments. We'll go through a little bit of a jog and stretch just around the hotel, maybe some fun relay races, go over our set pieces again, which we've spent the last couple weeks on focusing on fairly intently. We'll see how it goes. Again, I don't really expect the kids to be able to properly execute any of the stuff that we've been working on, but it's a start, and they've got to start somewhere. So heading to an out-of-state tournament like the Emerald Cup for me is a good time to try to focus the kids on working hard to prep toward that event. And again, we don't play the games to lose, but winning isn't everything. And from my perspective, we want the kids to play as best as they possibly can, not to win the tournament, but rather to be able to better highlight and showcase their individual strengths and weaknesses and our collective and team strengths and weaknesses. Then we can design training sessions to make us better, and that's the goal at this age. My daughter Olivia is super excited for this event, super excited, and I'm sure that goes the same for all the other kids on the team. So again, they're not going to remember much of the soccer, but as much as they'll remember swimming in the pool, hanging out with their friends at team meals, all the antics in the hotel. But that's a positive soccer experience and a positive soccer memory that I feel is my job to be able to pass on and impart onto these kids. So we will see how the trip goes. I'm super excited to see them play and see them compete in a new environment. The weather looks hit or miss. Looks a little rainy, a little stormy, so we might be dealing with some obviously possibly adverse conditions, but also some weather delays, some game rescheduling, who knows. But we'll make the best of it and go from there. So 2 hours into the drive or so, kind of bored with my audiobook, and I think it's jam out to music time. Taste of music is a little eclectic, but I think we'll spend the next couple hours pretending I'm a rock star.
Arms are heavy, there's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs.
For you, take a number. I was lightning before the thunder.
Mommy shark do 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 do. Mommy shark do 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 do. Let it go, let it go.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose.
TKNY, all up in my eye. You got a rider, bag with a rider, stuff in it.
By the dawn's early light, people in
So we made it down to Kansas City, and I came straight to the field complex just to check the field out, get the dimensions, and just prepare myself and prepare the team for anything out of the ordinary that we might encounter. The complex is beautiful. All turf fields, which is one of the reasons that we chose to come down here at this time of the year, just knowing that the likelihood of them canceling games based on wet rain conditions was not as likely as if we were playing in an event with grass fields. So we are playing on 8 North, which looks like it's over right by the road. And what an awesome complex this is. I mean, last time I was here was when an ex-teammate of mine named John Perry was running the Blue Valley Stars Club, who now I believe is Sporting Kansas City, affiliated with the MLS club down here with Sporting Kansas, or Sporting KC. And I think they had just built this. So he was super psyched about it, and now he's a bigwig with US Youth Futsal and runs the show over there. But this is absolutely gorgeous. So go step off some field dimensions and then head to the hotel to get checked in. Meeting the team at 4 o'clock, and then I'll be back out here tonight to watch at 6:45. There's a game with the 2 other teams in the group that we play tomorrow, and I'll come and check that out and do a little scouting, and we'll go from there. So really good sized fields out here. It's about 80 long by 50 wide, and the goals are a yard, 3 feet bigger than the goals that we train on. So yeah, should be interesting, but there's gonna be plenty of space. We have 3 subs, our 10 rostered players, and then we have 2 guest players with us. Sarah Johnson, who came to our tryouts in August and ended up playing with the Eclipse Soccer Club that my buddy Andy Casa organizes. And then Sienna's friend from Hastings, Olivia Levine, is also guesting with us. And she was at our supplemental tryouts, but family decided to stay in Hastings. But again, both players had expressed interest in possible guest playing opportunities with us through the year. So we're happy to make it work for them. And they're obviously helping us quite a bit by giving us numbers. And again, I don't want to get on my whole recruiting soapbox speech, but the rules in place by NYSA in Minnesota make it very difficult to even approach guest players about opportunities like this. And the rules, and again, I'm not sure exactly what the letter of the law is, but basically comes down to us not being able to approach families and players directly. Rather, we need to seek approval first and foremost with the club DOC. And as you can probably imagine, most DOCs or directors of coaching aren't going to be extremely supportive of a top player at their age group coming to guest with a club like MTA, mainly because that player may then opt to join MTA in future years, and the DOC will lose a talented player, which will, I think in many of their eyes, translate into a weaker age group and weaker teams, and they'll miss out on tournament wins, state championships, state cup, premier status, all of which most people think, most DOCs think, reflect on their job. Again, it's natural. It's natural, but there's the downside of that, and the shame of that is that players with high levels of potential athletic ability, interest, and passion in the game, who would in most cases be better suited in the development environment that MTA can provide over what that community club can provide, never get to hear about the opportunity, never get to make a decision on their own, the family never gets to make a decision because that information could be blocked by the gatekeeper, by the DOC. And again, to me, that's not right. An organization like MYSA seems beholden to its clubs and its DOCs when they should be looking out for the player. And looking out for the player means allowing players to have options and families to make decisions. They're taking all decisions out of families' hands and putting it in charge of someone who's paid to run a club and who naturally wants to have the strongest teams and the strongest players in their club. And again, this is nothing against community clubs, because a club like MTA can't provide the same thing that a club like Tonka can provide, who's dealing with 3,000-4,000 players and catering to many different types of levels of players, all and providing a fun, a safe, and a positive development opportunity for thousands of players. MTA will never be that. MTA was created to deal with the top 2, 3, 4% of players in the state. And those players, in my mind, get the best development when they're surrounded by players of similar ability, mentality, and athleticism, under a guidance of a quality coach, and in a program that provides the top level of competition in the country for those players, which for the girls especially is the ECNL right now. So anyway, I said I wasn't going to get on my soapbox, but kind of did a little bit. Anyway, that's about it for now, and I'll be back out here tonight to do a little scouting. All right, well, I was going to head back to the hotel, but stumbled onto a golf course, driving range, took a little detour. Now we're heading back to the hotel.
What?
It is?
It's not. Why are you
Okay, same thing, jog again. And don't make a big turn, just turn pretty tight and come straight back by your teammates. We had a shoelace a little bit to try to get anything, but okay. Alright, not bad. Not bad. Okay, facing the... Welcome. We'll be inside probably in like 10 minutes. Alright, come on. Alright, come on. No, you missed us. Ready? Kendall, give us a stretch, please. 6:30, 6:40, and I am back at the complex getting ready to watch the two teams behind me, Alliance and Kansas City Scott Gallagher. And I believe we play Kansas City Scott Gallagher, the white team. I believe we play them tomorrow morning, but I haven't looked at the schedule yet, so I'm not exactly positive. So I'm just here to scout a little bit and see what we've got ourselves into traveling all this way, and just try to do my best to prep the girls and give the girls any advantage, competitive advantage that we can get. Can't think of anything better to be doing today. It's 9:15 and I am back in the hotel room after I watched the first half of the game this evening. Then I got a little cold. So back at the hotel, caught up with the girls before they headed in. They have 8:30 in-room curfew tonight. I know they're super excited. They'd be running all over the hotel until midnight. But again, it's a soccer weekend for us, and that's I want to help educate the girls in terms of understanding the expense and the time commitment that the parents have sacrificed to get the kids here for a competitive weekend. It's not a swimming weekend. It's not a tag in the hotel halls weekend. It's a soccer weekend. I put some restrictions on them in terms of how long they can be in the pool and that in-the-room curfew, so that we're as fresh as we can be. And watching the game tonight, I think our biggest struggle this weekend is going to be our fitness level. We have 3 subs. The field's big. There's a lot of space out there. Both Alliance and Kansas City Scott Gallagher were athletic, and their benches were deep. I think Alliance had 6 subs maybe, and Kansas City had at least 4, maybe 5. So again, with 4 games, it's going to be tough on our girls with 3 subs. So that'll be, I think, the biggest challenge. It's tough to match up teams that I'm watching until they step on the field in a live game against our team. But looking at it, I think we're a better soccer team than both teams I saw tonight. But again, the Kansas City team had a couple big, strong, athletic forwards that could cause us some trouble. To Alliance's credit, I thought they tried to string passes together more, and tried to play the game a little bit more, not as direct. Alliance plays a 3-2-3 formation, and that leaves a lot of space for our outside midfielders in between their defenders and forwards that I think we can take advantage of. They've got a pretty talented little Asian playmaker in the middle of the field that's real tidy on the ball, and she'll be quick, and she'll be a handful for us. And the Kansas City team, again, athletic. We'll have our hands full with their forwards, but I think we're going to be able to create chances on their defenders. One thing that I did notice is that they play man-on-man on set pieces, and especially when they defend corners, so that may be something that we look to take advantage of as well. I did not see the Blitz team from Oklahoma City. We play them tomorrow night, and I'll watch them tomorrow after our first game. Our game's at 10:30, and I think Blitz play at 11:45 or after us, so I'm sure I'll stay in and watch them play and go from there. But it's been a long day. I'm driving and kind of getting here in the hotel and trying to get settled and getting out to the field complex. And so I'm going to spend a little time editing some stuff